So now let's look at sample question number 3 from the exam guide, and it reads that Universal Containers needs to closely manage the publishing lifecycle for articles in Knowledge. Article managers will be granted different publishing capabilities from article creation through archiving published articles. How should the permissions for article managers be set up? And so the answer options are A, you would either create public groups with article managers and assign each group to specific article actions, or B, create publication teams with article managers and assign each team to specific article actions. C would be to create public groups with article managers and assign each group to specific publication states. And then D is create publication teams with article managers and assign each team to specific publication states. So now we've not gone into a lot related to specific article actions, and we didn't delve into public groups related to knowledge. I'll get into that here in a moment. I'll actually demonstrate some of this for you. But the thing to keep in mind a lot of times with these exam questions is discerning what is real or what is not in existence. That makes it hard sometimes if you've not had hands-on experience with specific functionality. But we can rule out answer C and D in this scenario because publication states is not a thing in Salesforce. It doesn't exist, so that's just a fake options. And then as well, publication teams is not a real thing either. So these last 3 questions have or contain things that aren't real, either publication teams or publication states. And so the right answer here is option A. You need to create a public group with article managers and assign each group to specific article actions. All right, so let's take a look in Salesforce on how this works. I'm going to switch over to Salesforce Classic to do this. And so in that answer, we had a thing related to knowledge actions. And so we've not gone into knowledge actions yet. So I wanted to show you how this works a little bit. So, and I'm not sure if knowledge actions are available in Lightning Experience. Let me look at that real quick. So if I go back into setup in Lightning Experience, I'm not finding knowledge actions there. So it's probably good that I'm in Salesforce Classic. All right, so let's select to create a new knowledge action. And so you can specify the object. So the first step, and this is a 2-step wizard, is you select the object, and it gives you more detail here as far as selecting the article type for this action. You can only associate knowledge actions to workflow rules and approval processes that apply to the same article type. And so we just have the one article type of knowledge here. I'm going to click next. And just for an example, I'm going to give this a unique name of publish as new to match what the action is. And I'm going to click save. So now I've got a knowledge action. These are much like workflow actions, and you can associate approval processes with these actions, or at the tail end of an approval process, you can hook in this knowledge action to an approval process. Previously, I spoke of submitting articles for approval, and once it's approved, you can have these actions automated and used. And so let me create a public group here, because right now I don't have any public groups. So I'm going to create new, I'm going to just call this publishers, and then I'm going to assign myself and John Doe to this group. And I'm going to click save. And so now I've got a public group called publisher. So now I'm going to go back into my article action. We're on the article actions page, and there's some important information here as it relates to Classic versus Lightning and knowledge management. So this first part isn't terribly important. It's just saying that users with the manage articles permissions can perform all actions listed below. But to restrict access, you first create public groups, which we did previously, and those can contain article managers, and then use this page to assign the groups to specific article actions. So using this article actions page and public groups to manage permissions is only applicable to knowledge in Salesforce Classic. Okay, so that's an important designation or distinction, is you can only do this in Classic. Permissions in Lightning Knowledge are managed via profile permissions, and so you would not do this in these article action designations in Lightning Experience, but you manage this through profile permissions. And so these permissions are publish articles, archive articles, edit published and archived articles, and delete articles. And so this is a Classic only security designation for these article managers, which you can go into edit and make these changes. And here's where we fall into these public groups. And so you can set this publish articles designation, for example, to only article managers in specific public groups, which I created just previously in this lecture. And you can also apply this to all article actions. If I check this, then it'll do the same for all these different article actions. Click OK. And now the publisher's public group can have these different article actions. And so if I click Save, we have made those changes to the article actions in Salesforce Knowledge. So just as a reminder, back to this sample question. Let me zoom in on this. The question was, how do we manage the publishing lifecycle for articles in Knowledge? And we need to be able to give article managers, we need to grant them different publishing capabilities from article creation through archiving published articles. And the answer was to create public groups with article managers and assign each group to specific article actions. So we just did that, and that is only available in Classic. And a special note is that in Lightning Experience, that's done through profile settings. So now that we're through with sample question number 3 in the exam guide, we're going to continue on in the next lecture by looking at sample question number 5. And so stay tuned as we delve into question 5 in the next lecture.